The storm came out of nowhere. One minute the sky was only dim, the kind of gray that promises a quiet drizzle. The next minute, sheets of rain hammered the world like a furious fist. My windshield wipers struggled to keep up, squealing across the glass as if begging for mercy. I should have pulled over, I know that now. But at the time, I had groceries in the back seat, a pot of stew waiting at home, and a silent house that always felt a little less lonely when I kept myself busy. No need to be dramatic. I muttered to the storm as though it could hear me. I'm only 5 minutes from home. Maybe I should have known better. My daughter Elaine always said my optimism bordered on denial. My son Peter insisted I was too stubborn to live alone at my age. But they were rarely around long enough to do anything about it. Still, it comforted me to imagine their voices, even in critique. The next bend in the road was sharp, one I'd taken hundreds of times, but on this night the curve might as well have been a cliff. A flash of lightning blinded me for less than a second, but that was enough. The tires skidded, the car fishtailed. I jerked the steering wheel instinctively, the wrong way, the way fear commands instead of reason. The world flipped. Once, twice, maybe more, metal screamed, glass shattered. My body slammed against something hard, something unyielding, and then the world went dark. Not silent, just dark. Voices drifted around me, muffled like whispers underwater. Sirens, footsteps. A calm voice telling me to stay with them, hands lifting me, the cold bite of rain on my skin, then nothing. Nothing until the beeping started, a slow, steady rhythm, soft, insistent, mechanical, beep, beep. Beep, I floated somewhere between existence and absence, unable to move, unable to speak, but painfully aware of my own body bruised, broken, aching. I tried to open my eyes, but the effort was too heavy, as though concrete weighed down my eyelids. I sensed people moving around me. Nurses, doctors, machines whirring with clinical indifference. A discussion about my injuries, a mention of internal bleeding, a comment about critical condition. Then, clearer than any other sound, a doctor's voice said, "Contact the next of kin, his children." My heart stirred. Relief, safety, maybe even hope. I had raised those children with every ounce of strength I possessed. Surely they would come, surely. Time passed in indistinguishable fragments. Footsteps approached again, 2 sets. Familiar yet distant, a door opened, a voice spoke. "My daughter's, is he awake?" "Not yet," the doctor said. "But he might hear you. Sometimes patients do." A pause, a long one. Then my son's voice, flat, irritated, the tone he usually reserved for telemarketers and parking tickets. "So what exactly are you expecting us to do?" The doctor hesitated, a careful, cautious quiet. "He's in critical condition," he said. "He may need long-term support, decisions, authorization for procedures, and emotional presence can help recovery more than you know." Elaine exhaled sharply. "We have work, we have families. We can't just drop everything because he got into an accident. Work. Families, responsibilities. As though I had never had any. As though I hadn't juggled 3 jobs after their mother died. As though I hadn't sacrificed my youth, my savings, my sanity to raise them alone. As though meals, school supplies, doctor visits, and birthdays had magically paid for themselves. I wanted to scream at them, to ask, where were your responsibilities when I held your hand at the emergency room? Where was your time when you cried at night, and I stayed awake until sunrise comforting you? Where were your complaints when I spent every waking minute trying to give you more than I ever had? But my mouth didn't move, my hands didn't twitch. All I could do was listen. The doctor's voice tightened, the way someone sounds when they're trying not to show anger. "Your father could die without proper support. This is not just a medical issue, it's a family matter." Another silence. Then my son scoffed. "With all due respect, doctor, whatever happens is his problem. We don't owe him anything." My heart stopped. Not physically, but somewhere deeper, somewhere colder. My daughter's voice followed, quieter but sharper, like a knife hidden under silk. "We barely even talk. He's distant, hard to deal with, distant, hard to deal with." I had spent the last few years declining quietly into old age, careful not to bother them, careful not to ask for help. I didn't call often because I didn't want to interrupt their busy lives. I didn't ask for visits because they always came with excuses. I didn't ask for birthdays together because they forgot more than they remembered. But in their eyes, my efforts to not burden them had turned into proof I didn't love them enough. The doctor's disappointment slipped through his professional mask. "So you're refusing involvement." Peter didn't hesitate. "Yes," Elaine added, "we can't deal with this right now." And then their footsteps, their departure. The door closing, the finality of abandonment, the silence afterward was suffocating, heavy, absolute. A pain bloomed in my chest, not the physical pain from broken ribs or bruised organs, but the kind that seeps into the soul, the kind that turns warm memories into cold knives. I had been left before, abandoned once by loss and once by grief, but never like this, never by the two people I had loved beyond measure. For the first time since the accident, the tears began to fall. Though no one saw them, they slipped from my eyes and rolled down my temples, disappearing into the pillow. My breath shuddered. If the machines hadn't been breathing for me, I might have stopped. They had left me to die. Their decision hung in the sterile air like a verdict, and somewhere deep inside, something broke, something fundamental, something final. I fell back into unconsciousness, but this time I didn't fight it. When I eventually woke again, truly woke, it would be into a world where I understood one bitter truth: the accident didn't destroy me. Asterisk, asterisk, my children did. Asterisk, asterisk, the first thing I became aware of was pain. Dull, throbbing, pulsing behind my ribs and temples like distant thunder. Pain meant I was alive, although for a moment I wished it didn't. My eyelids fluttered. My throat burned. Every inhale felt like I was dragging air through broken glass. Shapes blurred around me, shadows moving, voices murmuring, machines humming like insects at night. Someone adjusted my blanket. Another touched my wrist to check my pulse. The voices overlapped. His vitals are improving. Might regain consciousness soon. Poor man abandoned like that. Abandoned, the word pierced through the fog. A memory vague, blurry, began clawing its way back to me. My children's voices, cold words, detached tones, the doctor's disbelief. Asterisk, asterisk, we don't owe him anything. Asterisk, 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 we can't deal with this. Asterisk, asterisk, my heart clenched, a spasm of pain that had nothing to do with the accident. I tried to move, tried to speak, but my body was still half asleep, half broken, refusing to cooperate. A warm hand touched mine, gentle, steadying. "Mr. Harris," a soft voice whispered, "if you can hear me, try to squeeze my hand." Her voice was like a thread pulling me back from drowning. I fought the weakness, the fog, the suffocating heaviness pressing down on me. My fingers twitched. Barely, but they did. A sharp gasp escaped her. "You heard me," she said, her voice trembling with relief. "You're coming back." Slowly, painfully, I pried open my eyes. The light stabbed at me, forcing tears to gather at the corners. Everything was bright, washed out, blurred like a dream trying to fade. But her face came into focus first. Lily, copper hair pulled into a loose bun, soft eyes brimming with compassion, and an expression that made me feel human, even in my fragile state. "You're awake," she breathed. "You're really awake." I tried to speak, but my voice came out as a rasping whisper. "My children?" Her face stiffened. She didn't hide her expression quickly enough. That was my answer. She swallowed, choosing her words carefully. "They came while you were unconscious," and my voice cracked. She hesitated. "They left." I closed my eyes. The room dimmed. Something inside me cracked like brittle glass. Lily touched my hand again, her warmth grounding me. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They didn't care." I murmured, more to myself than to her. She didn't argue. She didn't lie. She simply stayed beside me, letting the truth settle like dust on old furniture. Hash hash asterisk asterisk, the realization asterisk asterisk, days passed slow, aching, silent days. I regained strength in increments. A few more breaths each morning, a few more words each afternoon, a little more clarity each night. And with clarity came memory. I remembered every sentence my children had said, every cold tone, every dismissive word. But I didn't cry, not immediately. The tears came later in the middle of the night, when the ward was quiet and the machines hummed like lullabies for the dying. I cried not for myself, but for the years I had spent believing I mattered to them, for the birthdays I never missed, for the sacrifices I made in silence, for the love that had been unconditional on my side and conditional on theirs. Grief is strange. It doesn't arrive all at once. It leaks in slowly, like water through cracks, until suddenly everything is drowning. But grief turned into something else? Resolve. Hash hash asterisk asterisk, the quiet voices of strangers asterisk asterisk, one evening, when the hallway lights dimmed to soft amber, I overheard two nurses talking just outside my door. Is that the man whose children refused treatment? Yes. Can you imagine? Thank goodness he's improving. He deserves better. I wasn't meant to hear them. But I did. And it was their compassion, strangers, not family, that made me realize something profound. Asterisk asterisk, you cannot choose who betrays you, but you can choose who rises with you. Asterisk asterisk, I no longer wanted my children near me, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. Healing requires removing what wounded you. Hash hash asterisk asterisk, a dangerous kindness asterisk asterisk. It was Lily who approached me first. She waited until morning light spilled across my bed sheets before sitting beside me. Mr. Harris, she said gently, I know this is not my place, but there's an option. I raised a weak eyebrow. An option? You don't have to stay here under your identity. If you want privacy, safety, peace, I can help arrange a transfer to a smaller facility, somewhere your children won't look. I studied her face. Why? I whispered. She hesitated, then smiled softly. Because you deserve to recover without fear of being abandoned again. Something hot pricked behind my eyes. Will the hospital allow it? I asked. She nodded. After what happened, yes, they will. I turned my gaze toward the window. The sun was rising, painting the sky in warm shades of gold. For the first time since the accident, hope touched my heart. Not bright, not loud, but gentle. Like a hand on my back guiding me forward. Yes, I finally said, help me go. Hash hash asterisk asterisk, the quiet escape asterisk asterisk. The transfer happened at dawn 3 days later. No announcements, no calls to my children. No paperwork with my recognizable name, just a wheelchair. A blanket, Lily's steady hands. You're sure about this? She asked as she wheeled me down the empty hallway. Yes, I said without hesitation. I want a life where I'm not waiting for them to care. She squeezed my shoulder gently. You're doing the brave thing, brave. I hadn't felt brave in years. When we reached the ambulance, she paused and knelt in front of me, her eyes unwavering. You're not alone, she whispered, not anymore. Tears slipped down my cheeks. For once, they weren't from pain. The doors closed, the engine rumbled to life, the world rolled past the small window. Gray, quiet, distant. And I left behind not just the hospital, but the man who once believed his children would never abandon him. From that moment forward, I was living for myself, for the first time in decades. Recovering was nothing like I imagined. I thought healing was a straight-line pain to strength, weakness to power. But the truth was far crueler. It was a battlefield inside my own body, a war fought inch by inch, breath by breath, against bones that protested, muscles that trembled, and a heart that felt too heavy for its ribcage. Yet every time I wanted to give up, every time exhaustion clawed at me, a single memory pushed me forward. Asterisk asterisk, we don't owe him anything. Asterisk asterisk, those words were gasoline. Pain was the match. And slowly I started to burn with something fierce, not vengeance exactly, but clarity. Because, for the first time in my life, I saw my children exactly as they were. Not the children I raised. Not the toddlers who clung to my legs. Not the teenagers I stayed awake for during heartbreaks and fevers. They were adults who had chosen indifference, chosen convenience, chosen selfishness. People reveal who they are when they believe no one is watching. And my children had spoken freely over what they thought was a dying body. ***, the quiet place ***. The rehabilitation center was small, old bricks, lavender gardens, wooden benches varnished more by the sun than by human hands. It wasn't fancy, but it was peaceful, tucked away behind trees that whispered secrets whenever the wind passed through. I arrived under a new name, a quiet transfer, agreed upon by a sympathetic administrator who heard what my children had said. My room overlooked a courtyard of late, blooming roses, and every morning the light filtered through the window like a soft apology for the harshness of life. With every session, physical therapy, breathing exercises, speech strengthening, I felt parts of myself returning. Strength, breath, and something I hadn't felt in years, purpose. ##*, letters to the past ***, recovery gives you too much time to think. And thinking leads to remembering. I revisited decades of memories, birthdays, scraped knees, graduations, laughter that filled small rooms, tears that stained my shirt. I remembered their first words, the way they clung to me after their mother passed, how I promised them they would always be safe. Where did it go wrong? When did distance become abandonment? How did love become obligation? But pain wasn't the only thing I found in those memories. I found lessons, sacrifice, patience, grace. And most importantly, I found the truth. ***, I had given too much without teaching them the cost of receiving. ***, ##*, the plan ***, it started small tiny thoughts that sprouted like seeds. ***, a new will. ***, new beneficiaries. ***, protections in place. The attorney who came to meet me at the center didn't recognize me from the man on the news, the one whose car had been found in a ravine, whose survival had been assumed impossible. Only Lily, the nurse who saved me, knew the full truth. My children, I asked the attorney. He flipped through the legal folders. As next of kin, they're expecting to receive everything. The estate, the investments, the home, everything. I nodded slowly. Rewrite it, I said, all of it, and add a clause requesting they must appear in person to receive my final letter. The attorney blinked. A letter for them to read after you pass away? Yes, I said quietly, a farewell message. He hesitated, sensing something deeper beneath my calm tone. Are you sure? I looked out the window at the roses shifting in the breeze. I've never been more sure of anything, because I wasn't writing it out of spite. I was writing it because betrayal deserved truth, because they needed to see themselves clearly, because I wanted to leave behind the one thing they had never given me, honesty. ###, a new legacy, I listed every person who had touched my life in the past months. The nurse who wiped tears I didn't know I shed, the therapist who held me up when my legs refused to, the cook who brought me extra soup. When pain stole my appetite, the gardener who left flowers on my window. So, because everyone should have something that blooms. And I thought of children like mine once were scared, lost, alone after tragedy. I set up a scholarship fund for single parent households, a grant for emergency medical support, a donation for the center that gave me my life back. My wealth, everything I had worked decades for, would go to people who still understood compassion, not blood, heart, Hash hash asterisk asterisk, the letter asterisk asterisk. I wrote the letter for my children by hand. It took weeks, days of writing, nights of erasing, endless moments of hovering between anger and grief. I wanted the truth, not dramatized, not softened, the truth. It began with warm memories because even now, the love I'd had for them was real. Then came the quiet ache of their distance. And finally, the moment of betrayal in the hospital room, described without exaggeration, without cruelty, just reality. I ended it with this, asterisk, you left me when you thought I was dying, and in doing so you taught me who you truly are. I give this not as punishment, but as the final lesson I will ever teach you. Love is a responsibility, not a convenience. Asterisk, I sealed the letter, pressed my thumb against the envelope, and handed it to the attorney. My legacy was now protected. My escape from their world was complete. My story reborn. Hash hash asterisk asterisk, becoming someone new asterisk asterisk. The first morning I walked without assistance. The sun came through the trees in long golden stripes. I felt taller, steadier, almost like the man I used to be before life carved too many pieces out of me. Lily watched from the courtyard bench, wiping tears she pretended were from the breeze. You're getting stronger every day, she whispered. I smiled. Strength, I said, is choosing who we let hurt us. And I had chosen myself. A week after my quiet disappearance, the hospital room that once held my broken body held something else entirely, asterisk asterisk silence. Asterisk asterisk, not the peaceful kind, but the charged, heavy silence that sits right before a storm breaks. The staff had followed my instructions precisely. No mention of my survival, no explanation to my children, no hint that I was alive and recovering miles away. And so, when Elaine and Peter walked down that linoleum hallway again, they believed they were approaching the body of a dead man. Not their father, mind you, a nuisance, an inconvenience with potential financial benefits. The nurse who called them reported I had passed in the night. Their response had been swift. Too swift, no tears, no shaking voices, no stunned silence, just one question. Where do we pick up the keys to the house? Hash hash asterisk asterisk, their arrival asterisk asterisk Elaine, in her expensive beige coat and perfectly pressed pants, tapped her heel impatiently as she walked. Peter's suit jacket was unbuttoned, his phone in hand, already discussing numbers and valuations with someone on the other end. They were not mourning, they were calculating, two vultures dressed in designer clothes. When they approached the nurse's station, a young nurse, Maria kept her expression from twisting. We're here for our father, Elaine said flatly. Maria nodded. Of course, follow me. She led them down the corridor. Their steps were brisk, purposeful, unfeeling. They expected to see a covered body, expected to confirm it quickly, expected to move on to the estate, their inheritance, their prize. The irony was almost poetic. Maria opened the door to room 112. The bed was neatly made, blankets smoothed, pillow fluffed, machines unplugged and stored away. And on the center of the bed, asterisk asterisk, an envelope asterisk asterisk, ivory, colored, sealed with a deep red wax stamp bearing my initials. E.H. Elaine's face wrinkled in confusion. Peter frowned, stepping forward. Where's the body? He demanded. Maria's voice was gentle. He requested a private removal. Without us. Elaine snapped. Maria simply nodded. Inside, she wondered if these two had any idea what shame felt like. Peter grabbed the envelope. What's this? Your father left it. Maria said quietly. He asked that you read it together. They exchanged a glance. Annoyed, inconvenienced. Then Elaine broke the seal. Hash hash asterisk asterisk, the letter that changed everything asterisk asterisk. I had written it slowly, carefully, with the weight of decades behind every word. Not out of fury, not out of spite, but from a place deeper, where truth sits uncomfortably beside grief. Elaine cleared her throat and began reading aloud. Asterisk, my children. Asterisk, the letter began. Peter scoffed. Here we go, Elaine continued. Asterisk, if you are reading this, then you have returned to my bedside not out of love, but out of expectation. I know this because I heard your words the night you abandoned me. Asterisk Elaine froze. Her fingers tightened around the paper. Peter's expression cracked. Asterisk, I was not unconscious the entire time. Asterisk, the letter went on. Asterisk, I heard you say you didn't owe me anything. I heard you call me a burden. I heard you walk away. Asterisk Elaine's face paled. The room felt colder. Maria stood silently near the doorway, watching their expressions crumble. Asterisk, you left me to die when all I needed was the same care I once gave you. I raised you alone. I worked myself to exhaustion to give you lives of comfort you have mistaken for entitlement. Asterisk, Peter swallowed hard, a rare flicker of guilt crossing his face. Asterisk, this letter is not meant to hurt you, but to hold a mirror to who you have become. I cannot change that, but I can choose what legacy I leave behind. Asterisk, the next lines hit them like a blow. Asterisk, everything you expected to inherit the house, the savings, the properties, the investments, no longer belong to you. Asterisk, Elaine gasped aloud. Peter's head snapped up. Asterisk, I have given my estate to the people who stayed beside me when I had nothing left to give, to the ones who showed me compassion when my own blood could not. Asterisk, Elaine shook her head violently. No, he can't do that. We're his children. Maria folded her arms across her chest. Apparently, she said softly, you treated him like you weren't. Peter grabbed the letter again, reading quickly, frantically. Asterisk, do not look for me. Do not contact the lawyer to contest the will. Everything was done legally, witnessed, and notarized. You are owed nothing. Not by law, and certainly not by love. Asterisk Elaine's breath came in sharp, shallow bursts. No. He can't leave us with nothing. But the letter wasn't done. Asterisk, when you left me that night, something inside me died long before my body healed. I will not pretend that I am the same man I was. I am not, but I am finally free. From expectations, from manipulation, from the weight of loving without receiving. Asterisk Peter's hands trembled. Elaine's mouth hung open in disbelief. Then came the final paragraph, the one designed to stay with them for the rest of their lives. Asterisk, you left me when you believed I would not survive. I left you when I learned I no longer needed to. Asterisk, goodbye. Asterisk, your father, but no longer your burden. Asterisk, the letter ended there. Silence swallowed the room. Elaine collapsed into the chair beside the bed, covering her face. Her shoulders shook with something between rage and regret. Peter stared at the floor, eyes glassy but jaw clenched, refusing to let emotion win. Maria watched them, heart heavy but firm. They had expected a dead man. Instead, they found the truth, and the truth left them with nothing. Asterisk, a new beginning asterisk, while they sat stunned in that empty hospital room. I was sitting on a wooden porch miles away, overlooking a lake so calm it looked like it had swallowed every storm I'd ever lived through. Beside me, Lily placed a warm cup of tea in my hands. Are you okay? She asked softly. I nodded. Did they get the letter? She smiled. Yes, exactly as you planned. A long breath escaped me, a breath that carried 30 years of burden and heartbreak. For the first time in my life, I felt utterly, beautifully free, free of their expectations, free of their coldness, free of the illusion that I had to earn their love. In the silence of my new life, the lake shimmering before me, I whispered the words I never had the courage to say aloud before. I choose myself. And somewhere, far away, my children finally learned what loss truly felt like.